I like to seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis here. And I would also like to thank Her Grace Bhajanti Sakhi Mataji and the temple management for providing me this wonderful opportunity, though I'm not qualified to be seated on this Vyasasana or speak about Srila Prabhupada. I'm very grateful for this menial service and to him and to Krishna, Hare Krishna, and also to all the senior devotees who have guided me throughout the childhood. So, does anyone remember what place we visited in the previous chapter of Līlāmrta? Anyone? Yeah. So we visited New York, and any guesses on what place we're going to visit today with Srila Prabhupada? Any guesses? Alright, so we are going to visit San Francisco today. So in this chapter, at first, it starts with Srila Prabhupada arriving in San Francisco. And at the airport, there are already a few of his disciples, as well as about 50 hippies waiting for him. So an hour before coming to the airport, the disciples made sure to train the hippies to chant the Mahamantras to welcome Srila Prabhupada when he arrives at the airport. So we can move from the name of the chapter, which is Swami Invites the Hippies. So as soon as Srila Prabhupada arrives at the airport, he's already able to hear the chanting from outside the airport. So that puts a huge smile on his face. So all the hippies are being led by two of his disciples, Mukunda and Janaki, namely Michael Grant and Jan. So they are one of the most initial disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and they met him in New York. So as soon as Srila Prabhupada comes out of all the baggage claims, and after all of that, when he comes out, he is really happy to see that there are multiple hippies over there, and they're all chanting the Mahamantra. So it's already off to a great start. So as soon as he comes there, they split into two. They form a path for Srila Prabhupada to walk through. And as he walks through in between the path, they hand over flowers to him, bouquets and flowers, while also chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada, with a smiling face, takes all the bouquets, and he comes to a stop, looks around him, takes into his mind the faces of all the devotees, and then he starts handing the flowers back to them. And he continues to do this until he's seated in the car. In fact, even after he's seated in the car, he still hands over flowers from the windows. And in the vehicle are three of his disciples, and out of which two of them were already with him in New York. So Allen Ginsberg, I think you all might remember Allen Ginsberg, who helped arrange the program in New York. So Allen Ginsberg, Henry Cohen is the one driving the car. He was also the one in New York that drove the car, and also Mukunda. So they all take him to the storefront. So at that time, there was no big temples, right? So they had to use a storefront for a temple. So it was named Sri Sri Radha Krishna Temple. And as soon as he reached there, he gave a lecture based on what is the purpose of Krishna consciousness, why it is important to take up Krishna consciousness in life. And before that, he begins with Kirtana. So after the morning programs, he heads to his apartment, which is just 2 flights above the temple. It's on the 3rd floor, 32 flat number, and it's about 3 rooms where he would stay with his disciples. So during his stay over there, Srila Prabhupada would wake up every day at 1 a.m. and he would start to translate the scriptures. In the city of San Francisco, he was translating teachings of Chaitanya. So Chaitanya Charitamrita for easier understanding for all of us in English. And Srila Prabhupada is extremely merciful that as soon as he reached to the temple, all of the people who were there at the airport to welcome him, all the hipsters, and even the reporters from main newspapers like the Examiner, the Chronicle. So they all followed him back to the temple. So as soon as they reached the temple and his apartment, they started asking him. The reporters were asking, Srila Prabhupada, you're really conservative. like, what must one do to be in this Krishna conscious platform? So Srila Prabhupada says the 4 principles should be followed very strictly. So the 4 principles are namely no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no meat eating. So these 4 principles must be followed very strictly. And the reporters, as usual, they had confused look on their faces, like, how do we avoid all of this? So one of the reporters asks him, are we also supposed to avoid LSD? Srila Prabhupada says, any intoxicant, anything that is an intoxicant should be avoided. And then the reporters say, isn't that really conservative? Or isn't that really restrictive? But Srila Prabhupada says, conservative it is not. He mentions an example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what he says is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wouldn't even look at a woman. And Srila Prabhupada says, in this moment, we are taking in everyone, irrespective of their gender, their caste, religion, anything. So anybody is welcome in this movement. And then the reporters say, but that is very conservative. Srila Prabhupada says, no, it is not conservative. In the sense of the 4 regulative principles, yes, it is conservative. Otherwise, it isn't. And the reason Prabhupada says everyone is welcome in this movement is because, like, a lot of the hipsters, like, they bring their girlfriends as well to the temple. And he did not say that I, like, restrict you guys from bringing your girlfriends to the temple. In fact, he told that it's better if you get into the Grihastha Ashrama. That's when Grihastha Ashrama began, and it's better if you are, a part of it, and you get married to each other and help each other progress in Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada told, it's usually a sannyasi would be criticized in India if he got people married, right? As per everybody in India would judge him for that. So what Srila Prabhupada says is, I have one condition if you guys want me to get you married. So he says, you have to get initiated first. And then, once you're in Krishna consciousness, I will help you get married. So a lot of them started coming up for initiation. And Srila Prabhupada would only ask 2 questions. So they were already pretty engrossed in all the illusions. It's a little tough to get out of it immediately. So Srila Prabhupada says, only 2 questions. So whoever answers these, they are given their initiated names. So the 2 questions are, who is Krishna? If the disciple says, Krishna is God. And then the next question, why are you worshipping Krishna? What is the purpose? And then the answer should be that you have to surrender into Krishna completely. If one answers both of these questions, they get initiated. So that is how some of his initial disciples, like Michael Grant, Jan, now it's Mukunda and Janaki. So they are his very first initial disciples. So this is the first incident. And the next, they arranged a Sankirtan, a mantra rock movement in the Avlon Ball. So in Avlon Ballroom that day, there were already a lot of programs going on, like a lot of bands. So you can imagine a lot of loud music, a lot of lights, people smoking, drinking. But Srila Prabhupada didn't mind any of that because his main aim was to get people into Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada reached there about 10 o'clock. And all of his disciples helped him arrange all the musical instruments, the light shows. What was most interesting about this is the light shows. So for the light shows, as soon as, until the kirtan started, it was just random colors, disco lights, right? So as soon as the kirtan began, they had pictures of Krishna's pastimes as the light shows. So even though the people were already drunk or high on all the drugs, they were enjoying it. They were actually chanting and they were picking up the tune and dancing. And the kirtan went on for so long and they kept dancing. It kept going on faster and faster. And then it came to a halt. So the thing is, if you remember in the previous chapter, they had to set a small, the first program was actually free. And only a few people showed up. But when asked to Srila Prabhupada, only few people showed up, we apologize for it. But Srila Prabhupada said, no, demigods are seated. Why are you apologizing? They're enjoying the program. So then this time, since the holy name is priceless, yes, it is priceless, but keeping in mind all the expenses, they kept a small price for the tickets, just a price of $2.5. So at the end of the program, there were so many people that started attending the temple programs every day from that day onwards. They were all slowly getting attracted to Krishna consciousness. So our takeaway from this particular incident is that despite all the criticizing and no matter what difficulty is there, Srila Prabhupada was determined to preach Krishna consciousness, and we should do the same. And then following this, next morning, all of the devotees started coming up for the early morning kirtans and lectures. So during that, a lot of people would start taking up philosophical books of other religions and start questioning Srila Prabhupada. Like, no, this is wrong, how can you do this? Despite all of it, Srila Prabhupada would patiently answer it all. So he was extremely patient with them despite. Some would even come and sit on his asan, take over his mic, but he was still patient despite all of it. And that's how our preaching should be. And one more thing about this chapter that I really love is Srila Prabhupada would use everybody's individual talent to bring them into Krishna consciousness. So what he would do is, if okay, for example, we have Mukunda Dasa. He's a music arranger and he plays various musical instruments. So what Srila Prabhupada did is he trained him to play the mridanga during kirtans, mridanga, kattal, arrange kirtans, etc. So what Mukunda Dasa had to say about this was, when he was being taught the mridanga, very few basic beats. So he was just playing it and Srila Prabhupada was enjoying it. But Mukunda Dasa said that no other person that has ever taught me an instrument was ever this patient with me or actually appreciated what I was playing. He felt like he was actually seen by Srila Prabhupada, unlike others who just go on teaching like music instruments. And then one more thing is that Srila Prabhupada would connect everything in the surroundings to Krishna. So this one time he went to the beach with one of his disciples. So at the beach he would look at the sea and say that he remembers a particular translation. He mentions like the sea is calling, oh come here, oh come here. Like, so after that he sings an amazing bhajan. I think everybody knows this. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada would connect his surroundings to Lord Krishna. So a lot of the hipsters would actually go with him to the parks, the beaches, everywhere, and he would make sure to make them experience the pastimes of Krishna. Like, he would relate the sea to the swans, or he would relate all the hipsters to the crows as a joke. It was a very interactive session to help them get out of this illusion. And even though after initiation they wouldn't, be exactly following the principles, but he was happy that as long as they were chanting Krishna's name, they would be able to get a better life. In the next life, they would be able to have a better one. So that was pretty much about this chapter. And the 4 takeaways from this chapter are, despite any criticism, Prabhupada would go on preaching, and that's how we should be. And then you can indulge devotees based on their talent. So any newcomers, on whatever seva you can give them. If somebody is good at kirtan, you ask them to do kirtan. If somebody is good with administration, you ask them to do administration. Anything that can help them bring into Krishna consciousness. So these are some of the takeaways from this. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. And also, though this is just one of the chapters, this chapter has hooked me to, I want to read more of the Līlāmrta. It's honestly really amazing, and you feel it. You feel the happiness reading it. So I think everybody must go through the Līlāmrta more. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Syamasakhi. Thank you so much. So we always say that whatever our talents, we have the talents, it has to be used in the service of the Lord. So we think that every individual has got one talent. But now looking at all the kids who are here, I should not say the kids, they are more developed, more advanced in Krishna consciousness than us. So she has got a lot of talents in the music. I know that she is a good kirtan, but now today she has given a very nice class. Thank you so much, Syamasakhi. So, as I said before, that our movement is in good hands always. So here in this particular chapter, Swami invites hippies. So I was thinking how she is going to end up this chapter, and she very nicely said that, summarized this chapter also. Said that the point what we need to note down here is that somehow or other we need to get connected to the Lord Krishna. So the Srila Prabhupada, whether these the persons who are hippies or whoever, whatever they may be, somehow Prabhupada brings them. Even though they just answer only 2 questions, they got initiated. So we said, Yena Kena Prakarena Mana Krishna Nivasaya. So somehow or other get connected to Krishna. So this, our movement is for that, somehow or other get connected to Krishna. So now the Syamasakhi has given this nice gist of the chapter also. Thank you so much. So I request Prabhuji to hand over this small token of gift.
Hare Krishna. This is a message for Syamasakhi, blessing message. So to accept any situation as Krishna's mercy is to advance in spiritual life, you just try your best to serve Lord Krishna, and if any perplexing circumstances arise, just pray to Krishna to give you the strength. So Sudarshan is there for you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you.